What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rachel Graham, and I'm a registered nurse, a digital creator, and a mom. And this video is going to be about vaping. So stop vaping before it's too late. Let's jump right into it, you guys. So vaping has been normalized, and it's still incredibly popular, especially among teens and young adults. However, a lot of, middle-aged adults still vape. People think of this as less harmful and a safer alternative to smoking, but the truth is they are dead wrong, you guys. And I'm going to show you exactly why vaping is so dangerous. I'm going to explain the ingredients in your liquid vape juice and what happens when those ingredients actually become vapor and how they wreak havoc on your lungs and other systems. So even if you don't vape, send this video to someone who does, because you literally could be saving their life, all right? So what's in your vape juice? Propylene glycol. So this is a colorless, odorless liquid that carries flavor. Vegetable glycerin. This is a thicker liquid that actually produces those beautiful vapor clouds. Nicotine, obviously, it's a highly addictive stimulant. Flavorings. This one's a big one, you guys. These are food grade in many commercial vapes, okay? Food grade. But they are not tested for safety when inhaled. They are not tested for safety when inhaled. Some contain chemicals like diacetyl, which is linked to popcorn lung. I'll get more into that in the next couple of slides. Other additives or contaminants. So you have vitamin E acetate. This is linked to serious lung injury. There was this big outbreak in 2019, 2020. And a lot of kids were getting this serious lung injury related to that, or it's linked to THC. Heavy metals like lead, nickel, and tin have also been found in the aerosol after the vape coils heat up. Okay, so you have your liquid vape juice, right? So then what happens when that vape juice itself turns into the vapor? So when the liquid is heated, it breaks down into these components. Formaldehyde. This is a known carcinogen. What is a carcinogen? A carcinogen means it can bind, this product, formaldehyde, can bind directly to DNA and proteins. These cause mutations. This disrupts how the cells replicate, which increases cancer risk. Long-term exposure leads to chronic inflammation, cell death, and disruption of normal cell repair. That's how it is a carcinogen, or how it causes cancer. Acetaldehyde is also a known carcinogen. Acrolein is a lung irritant. Ultrafine particles, which can penetrate deep into the lungs and the bloodstream. And then other additives and contaminants like vitamin E acetate. So this is linked to serious lung injury in the 2019-2020 outbreak, or THC. Heavy metals like lead, nickel, and tin have been found in the aerosol from heating vape coils. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, diacetyl is a chemical compound that has this buttery, delicious, creamy flavor that was originally used actually in microwave popcorn and in dairy products and baked goods. So to expand on that a little bit, this creamy flavor, obviously they're adding that to the vape flavors that are vanilla, custard, caramel, buttery popcorn vape, right? Makes sense. But when that is inhaled, it has been linked to serious, irreversible lung damage. Are you guys hearing me? Irreversible lung damage. All because, so imagine your 13-year-old is like, oh my God, I want to get a vape. And it's like custard. It's so innocent. It's vanilla cupcake flavored. Think of this in your brain. That flavoring, when it's inhaled, it links to irreversible lung damage. This is not an innocent vanilla cupcake, okay? So how does it do that? How does it damage the lungs? Well, it damages the small airways in the lungs, and it causes what we call popcorn lung. So what are the signs and symptoms of this? That would be chronic cough, shortness of breath, wheezing, fatigue. This is very important to hear. There is no cure for popcorn lung. The damage is permanent. Let me say that again. There is no cure, you guys. It's 2025. We have cures for a lot of things. We do not have a cure for this. Some vape products, so your kid might be like, well, the vape I use says it's diacetyl free. Hear me. That actually doesn't mean much of anything. It means it contains a little less, or it just contains an equally harmful compound like 2,3-pentanedione, and I'm butchering these words, but that's okay, and acetone. nicotine? Sure. Some manufacturers also just do not disclose it properly. So don't buy into that. Expanding on acrolein. So don't get lost here, you guys. This is key information. Acrolein is a highly toxic chemical that is actually formed when glycerin and propylene glycol are burned or heated. This chemical is used industrially in herbicides, plastics, and chemical manufacturing. Over time, exposure to this damages the DNA and can weaken the body's ability to repair cellular damage. This increases our vulnerability to cancer-causing substances. It is linked to oxidative stress, inflammation in the cardiovascular system, things like chronic bronchitis, inflamed lung tissue, and impaired lung function in the long term. So I'm giving you guys a lot of scary facts here, but this is very, very important to totally understand what it is these vapes are. Okay, so E-Valley. This is an acronym for e-cigarette or vaping product use associated lung injury. This is a serious and sometimes fatal inflammatory lung condition that's linked to vaping. It's actually an umbrella term that includes several types of lung injury, and that is ARDS, so it's acute respiratory distress syndrome. I'm not going to go into detail on that one. Google it, it's horrifying. Hypersensitivity pneumonitis, and then the popcorn lung that we spoke about on the earlier slide. Symptoms of this kind of umbrella set of diseases are E-Valley: shortness of breath, cough, chest pain, fever, chills, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, dizziness, rapid heart rate, and abdominal pain. So it's saying the exact cause of this is not fully understood, but we know it's associated with inhaling certain chemicals, especially those containing THC or vitamin E acetate. 90% of these cases require hospitalization, and severe cases can be fatal. So how do they diagnose this? Well, what they do is they have to rule out that it's not COVID-19, it's not influenza, it's not pneumonia. They rule that out first. They do a full exam, obviously history, physical exam, chest imaging like X-ray and CT scan, and then they're going to look at labs. They're looking for elevated white blood cell counts. So not one single test can say, oh yes, you have E-Valley. It's a combination of things. So what are some other vaping related lung diseases, you guys? Are you getting like terrified at this point? Because you should be. Lipoid pneumonia. This results from inhaling oily substances, causes inflammation. I'm not going to read through all of the signs and symptoms. Collapsed lung or pneumothorax. This may cause or worsen lung blisters, leading to sudden lung collapse. Scarring and constrictive bronchiolitis can cause permanent scarring and narrowing of lungs in these small airways, making breathing really, really difficult. So what is the prevention, man? Like, if you're not ready to quit vaping at this point, then you need to keep watching. Keep watching anyways. So what else? Those all sound really scary. But what about things that maybe people are like, well, like those all sound really serious, and I don't really think that's going to happen to me because, we always think it's not going to happen to us, right? Well, what about raising blood pressure, elevated heart rates? And what when you have elevated blood pressure and an elevated heart rate, what can that lead to? Heart attack and other cardiovascular diseases. It's not just an innocuous thing, having high blood pressure. High blood pressure directly leads to other issues in the body. It isn't an isolated thing. Then you have organ damage. Obviously, I talked about these chemicals combusting and vaporizing, what happens, the difference between it being in liquid form and in vapor form. What about just the toxic metals from the device itself once it's heated? So not only does this affect your lungs, but it affects your kidneys and other organs in your body like your heart. What about mental health and addiction? Nicotine is highly addictive. We know this. It can alter brain development, especially in our teens and younger adults. This affects their learning, their ability to concentrate in class. It affects their impulse control, their mood. It can affect this temporarily, but also long term. It's linked to increased anxiety, depression, and can lead to addiction to other substances. I mean, these behavior problems our youth are having are not isolated. It isn't just video games, right? Or too much TV. It's like all of these things that these kids are exposed to. So instead of like thinking immediately, oh, let's get a kid on Ritalin or something. Well, let's look to see, do they have a side habit? Are they vaping? And then it causes issues with family. Obviously, if you're a 13-year-old and you're vaping on the sly, your parents know something's up, maybe they don't. You're having these symptoms, it's scary, you don't want to talk about it. It causes issues. You may feel isolated, which contributes to more of these mental health issues. What about the financial aspect of this? If you're an adult, maybe you don't feel social isolation because you don't care what your elderly parents think of you vaping. But what about financial? It's not cheap to buy the vaping supplies, you guys. Like the devices themselves, the vape juice, it's not cheap, and it's not any safer than smoking. I just had to throw that in there. So it's like this is not a good product in any way, shape, or form. So how do you quit? Now I've sufficiently scared you. How do you quit vaping? Set a quit date. Write this in a planner. Set it mentally. Do it like 7 days out. So not too far, close enough where you can mentally prepare for this. Get over the fear of it and start to get excited and prepared. Number two, think about, why do I vape anyways? Like, especially if you know about popcorn lung. Maybe you're a professional. You know these things. You know that it's really bad for you. Maybe you didn't know to the detail, to the like hardcore nitty gritty detail that I just exposed you to right now. But understand your triggers. When are you vaping? That may seem obvious, but identify the triggers and learn how to sort of anticipate that and um, get ahead of it. Number three, nicotine withdrawal. Prepare yourself for that. The nicotine levels in vape is actually a lot of times it's higher than in a cigarette. So you're going to have irritability, you're going to have headache, you're going to have cravings and anxiety potentially. So that's a real thing to expect. And then what about quit aids, things to help you quit, like patches, gum, sprays, things of that nature? If that's something that helps you, then try it out. And then they also have some really cool apps nowadays. They've got Quit Vaping by Truth Initiative. They've got Smoke Free. And if you're a teen or like a younger person, you can actually text ditch vape and someone will get in touch with you right away. Number six, find a quit buddy. Like, why do it alone? If you know someone, if you have a friend that vapes, and I feel like the people you hang out with, typically you do the same things. And so a lot of times smokers hang out with smokers, right? I'm sure vapors hang out with vapors. I don't vape, so I don't know. But find a quit buddy and do it together. Or if you don't have a friend in real life, do it online. Number seven, distraction. This one I feel like this one is a better recommendation to me than the quit aids, like the patches and the gums, because I've heard from people that doesn't work anyways. So what about chewing gum or having mints on hand? Make sure you always have water. What about a fidget toy? Like, do something. It's this oral fixation, right? Number eight, throw out your devices, your pods. Just throw it out, like literally throw it in the garbage can. So here's a light at the end of the tunnel. What happens after you quit? So in the first 1 to 3 days after quitting vaping, your lung inflammation begins to decrease. Breathing may feel easier. The cilia in your lungs actually start to recover. And the cilia in your lungs is what helps move mucus, and it protects you from infection. In 1 to 2 weeks' time, coughing and phlegm production may actually temporarily increase because your lungs are trying to clear out that toxin. Your oxygen levels and your circulation are going to improve, and shortness of breath may actually start to lessen. After only 30 days, you guys, lung capacity is going to improve. If you exercise, that's going to feel a lot easier. Your chest is going to feel less tight, and your wheezing is going to decrease. In 3 to 9 months, the cilia function in your lungs is going to be significantly restored. Your chronic cough you may have and shortness of breath, that's going to continue to improve. And your lungs have become better now at self-cleaning and fighting off infection. In 1 year and beyond, your risk of respiratory infection drastically decreases. If you did have exposure to diacetyl or acrolein, that inflammation that's caused, it may gradually reverse. However, some damage is permanent from that chemical exposure. So, how to help your lungs? How do you speed up this process? So you've quit vaping, you're feeling pretty excited about it. Say you're 30 days in, you've noticed things are feeling better. So how do you help your lungs recover faster? So regular exercise, you guys, walking, running, cycling, swimming, those activities strengthen your lungs. Even 20 to 30 minutes of brisk walking improves lung capacity and oxygen use. So breathe clean air. this isn't like, obviously we're going to go outside and be exposed to pollution. I'm talking about avoiding secondhand smoke. If someone's smoking around you, go in the other room. Or hopefully they're not smoking in your house. But if you're outdoors, say, and someone lights up a cigarette, just walk away. Or if someone's vaping, don't just be like, oh, that's kind of a nice like cupcake smell. Remember what I said. That is not an innocent vanilla cupcake. That is not. That is a toxic chemical masquerading as this pleasant aroma. Walk away if you smell that. Avoid inhaling chemical cleaners. So stop using chemical cleaners in your home. Don't use them because those aerosolize and you're also taking that into your lungs. And especially if your lungs have been compromised because of smoking vape, you should avoid using toxic chemicals in your home. Use an air purifier if you can swing it. And then there's something you can do that's really cool to improve your lung efficiency and to help manage any anxiety you might be feeling from those withdrawals and any shortness of breath you're still experiencing. And that's practicing deep breathing, like pursed lip breathing or belly breathing. And you guys can Google those two things. And then what about some lung-friendly foods? We don't really talk about lung-friendly foods, do we? Berries, leafy greens, citrus, and carrots. Those are all antioxidants, really good for your lungs. Things like walnuts, flax seeds, and fatty fish. Those are omega-3s, excellent for your lung health. And then what about anti-inflammatory spices like turmeric and ginger you can add to your meals? So what you want to avoid, you guys, is ultra-processed foods. You want to avoid anything that's packaged. You want to avoid anything that has like this many ingredients on the ingredients list on the back. You don't want to touch that. You want to avoid foods that are super high in added sugars and in added salts. So that's processed foods. That encompasses processed foods. Why? Because those foods can cause inflammation. Okay? So here's some bonus tips, some kind of cool things that maybe you don't know. Singing and playing wind instruments actually naturally builds lung strength. I thought that was pretty cool. Laughing actually exercises your lungs. So practice laughing and having a good time, you guys, because you're exercising your lungs while you do it. And then laughing also exercises your abdominal muscles. So another reason to have a good time, get some laughs in. Get regular checkups with your provider because lung disease often progresses silently, okay? It's not going to necessarily be immediate, like a pneumothorax where immediately you're experiencing sharp pain in the chest. It doesn't always manifest like that. So if you're making sure to go to your regular checkups and getting your vaccinations on a regular schedule, then they're going to be able to interpret lab results and they'll be able to see some of this coming with the high blood cell count, with the white blood cells. Another great recommendation still 2025. We are post COVID, but COVID is still a thing. I would wear, if you are compromised because you've been vaping and you're trying to quit, I would wear a mask in crowded places, whether that's, say you're in a elevator or something, or, you're in a movie theater, anywhere that you feel like there's a lot of bodies and it's a close quarters, a lot of people breathing, just wear a mask to protect yourself. And wash your hands often to avoid getting infections. So that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe. Like I said, even if you yourself don't vape, send this to your kids, send this to your cousin, send this to your brother's daughter, whatever. Just put it out there, post it on your Facebook page. Somebody, you could save a life. Alrighty. See you in the next one, guys.